Good morning. It's Wednesday, October 8th, 2014. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 72. My name is Chris, but you don't care about that because the beautiful Angela Fisher's here. Hey,
Here
Ange.
I am.
Hey, are you ready to talk the tech news with me today?
Of course.
Well, good. Why don't we also bring in our esteemed Mumble panel? Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Good afternoon.
Greetings.
Morning.
Hello.
Hey,
I like
Wow.
a little musical there, too. I like that. All right, well, let's start with something that if this affected you, you're not downloading today's episode. But once you get back on the internet, you'll know what was going on. Unfortunately, tons and tons of Belkin routers may be unable to get online today.
Wow. Wait. This journalist actually used the word borked.
Borked Belkin routers, yes.
Is
Makes
that
sense to me.
Peter Bright, yep.
Is
Peter
that
Bright
an
over at Ars Technica.
Is that an official term?
I'll take borked.
Oh, I know what it
Borked,
means.
broken,
Like, I use it that way, but
I think you like to play on the bees.
that's great.
Yeah. So here's what's not so great, though.
Okay.
Owners of Belkin routers around the world are finding themselves unable to get online. Outages appear to be affecting many different models of Belkin routers, and they're hitting customers on all the different ISPs, with Time Warner Cable and Comcast being among those. ISPs are being inundated with support calls by unhappy users, and of course they're being redirected by the ISPs to Belkin's support. Now here's kind of what they suspect the reason is. Now, when Ars Technica originally ran this report, they didn't know. People were speculating maybe an automatic firmware update was sent out. But then people started saying, well, look, I turned off the automatic firmware feature, and I still am not able to get online. So what's going on here? Turns out Belkin released an official statement saying, starting approximately midnight on October 7th, Belkin began experiencing an issue with a service with a server configured in a certain Belkin router models that causes failure when it checks for general network connectivity by pinging a site at Belkin. In other words, they had a server that these routers would ping, and their server went down, and nobody noticed for a couple of days at Belkin. And so when these routers couldn't ping the server, they just assumed their connection was offline and went offline.
Wow.
How dumb is that?
Yeah.
It's just such a horrible way of designing your router.
Yeah. Right now, you're supposed to be able to reboot your router and get back online, but you can call them to it, 1-800-223-5546, if you're still having issues with your Belkin router.
Wow.
And you're listening to this on your phone, downloading over your LTE connection.
Yeah.
Because that's all you got.
This just goes to show you, I've always had a problem with Belkin's quality. It just has always seemed ho-hum. It has not seemed very high quality.
Right.
It seems like overpriced garbage to me.
Yeah, and you can see, too, like, what a dumb system. So are you telling me that if I had known, like, if there was some way, like, okay, here's how you'd figure it out. You just traffic sniff a couple of Belkin routers. You notice they're all pinging the same IP address. And then the next thing you do is you DDoS that IP address, and now you've taken out all the Belkin routers.
Right. Wow.
Not all of them, but like a whole range of Belkin models.
That's insane.
It should not be allowable. Like that's a defective design.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows you why right here. And it's kind of amazing this hasn't happened before. And it's astonishing because, like, what if, like, I don't know. I mean, what if it happened to us during a show or something like that? Oh, well, we would never have a Belkin router. But anyways, it's pretty disgusting.
And it looks as though the solution is just to unplug it and plug it back.
But they had to get their server back online first.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and for some folks, that's not fixing it. But anyways, you know who likes to report on Facebook rumors these days?
I do.
Yes.
No.
And the New York Times. The New York
Wow.
Times is reporting that the company is working on a standalone mobile application, this is Facebook, that allows users to interact inside of this application without having to use real names, according to two people that are briefed on Facebook's plans, who spoke on the condition of being anonymous. They say the point, according to these people, is to allow Facebook users to use multiple different names to openly discuss the different things they talk about on the internet.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
So even though didn't they buy Snapchat? Like, okay, so there's that. They say there's many unknowns to how the app will interact, if at all, with Facebook's main site. It may be completely disconnected from Facebook's main website.
Good job, New York Times.
It's unclear if the app will allow anonymous photo sharing or how friend interactions with existing connections will work. There's also rumors that Facebook wants to get into Facebook Health, and they want to create a platform where people are comfortable discussing health issues and not worried about being tracking. So the New York Times speculates that Facebook's going to roll out this anonymous messaging client that everybody gets comfortable with, and then when they roll out the Facebook Health stuff, it'll just be a foregone conclusion that, I'll just use the anonymous chatting app for my medical stuff.
Wow. So does anybody else feel like Facebook is turning into the next Walmart?
I don't know, but it certainly makes me feel naked.
Of technology. So
Yeah, they want to
Yeah.
be in everything. They want to mind. And the other thing, yesterday, Facebook announced a new sort of Google Ads competitor, where you can put Facebook ads into any app on any website, not just Facebook, and Facebook will use the data they know about the people visiting those sites to target ads at them.
huh.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Walmart. I thought that was Amazon, though.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel like that's as much.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I don't think Amazon is doing it dirty like Walmart is.
Okay.
You know,
Facebook,
like
you mean?
I feel Walmart.
Okay.
Both of them. I think Facebook and Walmart are both playing a dirty game. I don't get that feeling from Amazon, despite
And
our
like,
checkered past.
you know, like I think PC Wiz, you have a good point. Like, you don't trust it would actually be anonymous, do you?
Well, it wouldn't. No, they're not going to make any money out of it if it's actually anonymous. They want to sell you adverts. They already track everything you type into your chat window before you've sent it. So they're going to do exactly the same thing. It's just the person you're talking to won't be able to see your name.
I wonder if they're willing. Okay, so here's I'm going to put on my Zuckerberg cap right now, my hoodie, and I'm going to say maybe if I want to roll out a health platform and I want to give people the option to have private chatting, and if people are going to use private, off-the-record, anonymous chatting, I'd rather they do it with one of my apps on my infrastructure than on anybody else's. So maybe because of that, they would make it actually anonymous. I don't believe it, though.
Wow, Keller CW78 says Facebook is Walmart, Apple is Target. Fancy Walmart.
All right, Buhaya, what do you think? Buhaya,
More like, can I say, Facebook is making an anonymous app, but you're going to be anonymous to your friends, not to Facebook and its
Right.
Oh, sure.
advertising
Yeah,
companies.
I think you nailed it
A
right
good
there.
choice of word,
Yeah.
phrasing by
Another
Facebook.
thing.
Mhm.
Just another thing. I don't think this could possibly comply with HIPAA law.
Yeah, there's that, too.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really, as these companies get into all this health stuff, that's an interesting thing because HIPAA's a bitch. It's
Well-
really
Oh, yeah.
it's a
It
beast.
sure is. Yeah. No, I had to do the HIPAA compliance at one of my previous jobs, and it is
Me too.
just books and books, or
Oh, yeah.
of
Oh, yeah.
just you have to do this and you have
Yeah.
to do this.
I
and
was
you have
always
to
up
do
against
this.
it from an IT deployment standpoint, making stuff
Yeah.
HIPAA compliant.
Right.
I would never trust Facebook with something like this. And I think part of Facebook's problem here is they're acceptable for what they do. Allow friends and family to interact on a network that's dedicated for that. That's
Right.
what Facebook's good for.
Yeah.
It's not good for pretty much anything else.
No. Yeah.
and it's like I feel like all these big companies want us to use them for all these different things, right? Apple wants to be in my wallet, Google wants to be in my wallet, Facebook wants to. We talked about that. Wants
Yeah.
to be your wallet. Everybody wants to get on the money stuff. Now everybody wants to get on the health stuff. Jeez Louise. How about we let the doctors get on the health stuff and you guys focus on making technology?
Yep.
See, that sounds like the correct solution. But the
Yeah, but
problem is,
Infinite
it's
growth.
smart.
Yeah, well, no. The problem is that infinite growth. They always have to keep growing,
That's
always
true.
expanding, get those monies up more and more and more and more.
It's all about the bottom line.
Yeah, it's all about the bottom line. And I look at this too, and I think if Facebook is to pull this off, it's going to be a multi-year strategy, like they talked about with the payment system, where people are going to have to. It'll be introduced like today, right? Messenger is like this thing that feels like everybody was forced to switch to, constantly in your face in the Facebook app on the mobile to get Facebook Messenger.
If you haven't gotten it.
Yeah, and but there will be a point where it's just normal that it's a separate app. And nobody thinks that's a weird thing anymore. And a lot of people will be using it. And then pretty soon they'll start using it for payments, right? So sometimes this stuff seems really weird at first, and then over time we just kind of get comfortable and used to it. And I think Facebook has the patience, the money, and the leadership to just wait these things out and slowly ratchet it up over time. That's what I think will happen.
Yep.
Speaking of slowly ratcheting things up over time, patreon.com/today, that Patreon level is slowly ratcheting up. We just hit 358, which is amazing.
Yep.
We're trying to
It's
get
up
to
6 from yesterday.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because I think people know we're really trying to get to 400 by the end of October when we take off to go to Ohio Linux Fest. We're trying to meet that as our milestone internally, just because we have some things we're working on, and that's a number 400 that we think we'd be pretty happy with. And also, not really directly related to the Patreon, but just for the community. We saw some of our first pictures of the Linux Action Show jackets arriving.
Well, I just have one so far, but yeah, it's on the Instagram. If you want to go to instagram.com/Jupiter Broadcasting.
Do you want me? Are you asking me to do that right now?
The very
Is that what you're
first
saying?
last jacket has picture has been
Are you
submitted.
saying you should go over to
Yeah.
Instagram.com/Jupiter Broadcasting right now? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? Boom! There it is. The very first Linux Action Show jacket. Pretty exciting. And so thanks to everybody who grabbed those too. So the Patreon is a way for you to contribute to the Jupiter Broadcasting Network and support all of the shows. If you enjoy one or more of our shows, this might be a great way for you to give back and make sure they continue to come to you. It also tilts our, well, what's the best way to put this? Who we report to, our boss, it tilts our perspective towards the audience. And I think that's hugely important. And in a sense, you guys will be financing the network over time as this continues to grow. And I think that's massively important for the kind of shows that we want to create in the future and the kind we create today. Patreon.com/today. This show, Tech Talk Today, is me trying to pay off a little bit of that debt to you every single day. We say thank you through this show, but that Patreon supports all of the shows. Patreon.com/today. Thanks to everybody.
And that jacket is still actually available. The second round of it
Oh, that's right.
is on
Teespring.com/JBJacket.
Yep, and we've sold 67.
And how long does it have left?
It has...
It has 4
where
days,
is it?
10 hours. 4
Wow.
days, 10 hours left. There you go. Teespring.com/JBJacket. All right, Andrews, are you ready for the next story?
Yeah.
This one, I don't know why. I'm not a user of this software, but it sure gets me upset. Adobe is spying on your reading habits, and it's sending the data over an unencrypted web traffic because your privacy is important to them.
Yeah.
So if you use the Adobe Digital Edition software to read ebooks, basically, that you've downloaded online legally, everything you do in that software is tracked by Adobe. Every book, every title, and on top of that, it scans your entire hard drive, finds any other ebooks, all of their metadata, and sends that to Adobe.
What?
It tracks, here's a few things, this is as of version 4. Every
Holy-
page read, when it was read, the digital tome access time, and it sends that data to Adobe. So here I have a whole list in the show notes, but I'll just read a couple of them for you. Your user ID is sent. Your device ID is sent. The certified app ID. The IP address of the device you're reading from. The duration of which the book was read. The percentage of the book read. All of that is sent over to Adobe in clear text every time you use the software.
That is insane. Although, I mean, they're just using that to for metrics, right? And to
Metrics, and also to prevent piracy. They say when you accept the license of it, they say in the DRM section that they will be doing this.
Wow.
Yeah. The metadata of the book is provided by the publisher, and they correlate all of this stuff together. So they not only have a profile on what you read and when you use it, but they also know if you've been downloading ebooks off the net and have them somewhere else on your hard drive, and they're profiling you for that too.
PC Wiz has an idea of why they do that.
Go ahead, PC Wiz.
So they're saying they're just, we'll profile your ebooks, we'll get some anonymous usage data and make our application better, sure. And then they've partnered up with copyright holders, obviously, to see who's pirated their content.
Right.
So what's next? They're going to start figuring out your identity with other information they can gather on you from when you purchase software from them. And then you're going to get a letter through the post saying you've stolen various ebooks.
Yeah. And here's why there's two reasons why it upsets me. Number one is the obvious. They're sending it in clear text. That's in 2014. It's ridiculous. Number two, once again, we have a clear and present demonstration of why those who pirate are better off than those who legally buy. Because if you pirate all of your ebooks and you don't use their crappy digital edition software, no one's tracking you. No one knows about it, and you didn't have to spend a penny. Just like when you download movies and television shows, the commercials are cut out, the quality's better than what you can get off iTunes or Amazon. It's a better experience, and you get to keep the file, and it's also encoded better. Like, when are these idiots going to figure out that they have to make it better all around to do things legally? Like, I cannot comprehend why they want to continue to punish legally abiding customers.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's like, and what gives them the right to do this? Like, what were they sitting around in their meeting rooms thinking? Well, it's just the peasants. We can scan their computers. They don't matter. It's just the puny peasants, right? It's insulting too. And for what? Oh well. You know what? I've ranted about Adobe enough on the show. I'll leave it at that. It's disgusting. Why don't we end with a good ribbing on Comcast? Everybody loves that.
Yeah.
Comcast went down on us during Coda Radio, so I feel like it's due.
They're due, yeah.
So you complain about Comcast, you can get fired from your job. At least that's what happened to this guy. When you complain to your cable company, you certainly don't expect that cable company will then contact your employer and discuss your complaint. But that's exactly what happened to one former Comcast customer who says he was fired after the cable company called a partner at his accounting firm.
What?
Yeah.
And said what?
At some point, shortly after the call, someone from Comcast contacted a partner at the firm to discuss the call. This led to an ethics investigation and a subsequent dismissal of Connell. I think they say his name is Connell, left to a subsequent dismissal from his job, a job where he says he'd only received positive feedback and reviews for his work. Comcast maintained that Connell used the name of his employer in an attempt to get leverage. Connell insists that he never mentioned his employer by name, but believes that someone in Comcast controller's office looked him up online and figured out where he worked. When he was fired, Connell's employer explained that the reason for dismissal was an email from Comcast that summarized the conversations between Connell and Comcast employees.
Summarized it? And that has nothing to do with work.
Of course, Connell's never even been able to see this email to see what it actually says or to see if it was accurate. And Comcast has refused to release the tapes.
That is insane. Well, their employer made a mistake. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What he does on non-work time is none of their business.
I think he's suing for wrongful termination.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He should.
The call was like back in February, and it's just like, it's one of these things where these companies have some. I bet they work together. I bet Comcast and that firm probably have, some pull with each other. That's probably why it happened.
According to the article, that particular firm has consulted for Comcast before.
Yeah,
so that's about it. They don't actually have any relationship.
That might be but they have established contacts, I guess is what I'm saying.
But, okay, yeah, so regardless of whether or not Comcast was a client of that accounting firm, it has nothing to do with
doesn't justify it at
with
all.
His own service.
No.
It's coincidental and
then not showing him the email so he could see the claims. That's dirty play right there.
Yeah.
Central.
And it's interesting that they launched an internal ethics investigation over it, which sounds like a crap thing to begin with. So he says he's not yet filed a lawsuit, but it's not out of the question. And Comcast senior deputy general counsel admits that the company did contact his employer, but says that they're not in a position to complain that the firm came. They're not in a position to complain that the firm came to on their own decision.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
The Consumers has a pretty good write-up. We'll link to it in the show notes if you guys want to read more. But
wow,
gosh. Anyways, I hope Comcast just keeps taking over more of the ISP market. Have at it, Comcast. Enjoy. Meanwhile, our connection can't stay up for more than a week.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, right?
Wow. Well, Frontier isn't much better.
It's true. We're kind of
But they're faster.
It's bad straits over here in our area. All right, so that's kind of a bummer note to end it on. I wish we had something more positive. You know what we need is like some positive, how about an old classic commercial that leaves us warm and fuzzy, something that makes us think of the good old days when technology was amazing and we could be just sort of put in awe by all the simplest things. Even refrigerators in space. Does that sound like a good way to end? Okay. We'll do refrigerators in space. All right, so join us tomorrow for the last Tech Talk Today, Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, over at jblive.tv. TechTalkToday.reddit.com is where you can go to submit stories and give us your feedback and also just vote up and down. You can get in there and do that every single day. It helps make this show even better. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Now enjoy your fridges in space.
From Frigidaire's galaxy of 1966 space-age refrigerators comes the Frigidaire Star of Best Buys, an unbeatable buy with a bonus, but available for a limited time only. Why unbeatable? Watch. It's a big 16.3 cubic foot model, powered by the new Power Capsule, space-age successor to the old-fashioned compressor. It's frost-proof throughout, never needs defrosting. Holds this much food in the giant 154-pound size freezer. And with the Frigidaire Star, you get this wonderful ice ejector kit free. Put a tray on, flip the handle, presto, ice. What a work saver. The ice ejector with 2 trays is yours absolutely free if you buy this refrigerator now. Don't miss out on the Star of Best Buys event. Hurry, see this Frigidaire Star and the other Best Buys at your Frigidaire dealer now.